Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Pillars of Eternity, episode 81. I'm IVATOPIA. Okay, we're having a little look around this inn. We had a nice, well, I wouldn't really say chat with him, we kind of looked into his soul. So, see what else is around here. Any more souls to look into? Hate to say it, but the legacy's been good for business. You've come to talk some sense to this fellow, I hope. I done all this, so we'll head back here. Why have exit on them? It means they can't steal. Hello, hello. Okay. Okay, let's go on the side of the room so I'm going to chat with people. Okay, we looked into you, didn't we? Let me just double check. Half consumed. Yeah, we haven't talked to this dude. All steam into his soul. These two little next ones. Lively place, isn't it? You'll find all sorts. Everyone's a philosopher here. Okay, these look interesting. Yep. Instant Tuscan, as you near, you feel a vibration contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from his past seem to call out to you, reach out to his soul. You see a fire burning slowly on the side of a windy road, unmanned. There seems to be no fuel, no wood or oil for it to consume. No hay or twigs. Despite this, it roars, crackles, wails in the wind. It takes you a moment, but you begin to notice a figure in the flames. Its shaking hands cradle a young face, molted red tears marking his skin, the colour of coal. The boy covers, flame coating him, as he holds his knees to his chest. In the distance, a man approaches, faceless. He extends a hand to the frightened child, who considers it warily before taking it. The flames die down, leaving his limbs and settling on his head like obedient pets. All tears dried, they walk together, fire and death, hand in hand. So basically one of their races when he was a kid, I guess. Instead of just being its head, it's all over him. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contained in the essence of this man's soul. Voices from his past seem to call out to you. You see a wizard playing illusions in the town square, fingers plugging colour and sound from the air and weaving scenes of beauty and fright. A crowd of onlookers gasps and cheers, enthralled with display. All but one boy standing off to the side, mouth agape. Green eyes are pale with wonder, vision after vision playing out before him, and something inside the boy clicks. Without warning, he bolts, disappearing into the crowd, pushing and shoving desperately. The mage finishes the show. Soon after, a giant silver dragon descending through the crowd, and 1,000 stars exploding into nothingness, colliding coins. He walks around the clapping crowd, bowing and nodding at each as he passes until a small sack is dropped into his hand. The boy stands for a moment before him, small and still, begs the wizard to apprentice him. He glances at the hefty bag, weighing it, and the boy finally he nods and flicks gently at the bag, which disappears. The boy grins. How do you do that? He asks, but Lucius merely winks. Okay, what's a dragon part? Because that threw me there. The mage finishes his show. Soon after, a giant silver dragon descending through the crowd. 1,000 stars exploding into nothingness. The coins he walks around. Silver dragon descending. I don't get where the dragon came into it. But his show ended with, instead of fireworks, he has a dragon coming down. Is that what it's supposed to be? Step back. The vulture. As you near, feel the vibrant history, same as before. Reach out for the soul. You see a hand, curled and bruised, stacked to the floor. Oh, stake, sorry, not stack. Oh, sugar, stake to the floor with a bent metal spike. Blood covers the floor and drips from the furnishing and walls. This man looks up from the body. He's crouched over to survey the carnage. He calls to the family in whose house he now skulls. 4 bodies total: a woman, 2 young men, and a girl lie blindfolded on the ground. Their legs are bound and both hands are attached to the floor with spikes. Ow. He has lifted the woman's blindfold and is currently doing something to her eyes. pulls back a small blade and covers the eyes again. Gently patting the blindfold, he stands and looks around, seemingly satisfied with his handiwork. Suddenly his breath quickens, hearing someone approach the door to the room. He bounces in place, excitement almost overwhelming him, then rushes to the back of the room, concealing himself in the shadows. From his vantage, he sees the bodies are perfectly arranged, each one facing the door, welcoming the man of the house back, arm outstretched as if in embrace. Door opens as he slowly pulls another spike from his belt, tip of his tongue playing across his teeth in anticipation. Wow. So you see a hand curled and bruised, a stake to the floor, bent metal spike, across the floor, This man looks up from the body he is crouched over to survey the carnage he caused to the family in whose house he now. Wow, so in a past life, this guy got sick pleasure from slaughtering people. That's if this is past life and not seeing his real life. If I'm seeing his real life, then this guy's an evil guy. But I think these are past lives. Okay, let's check this dude, and we'll go to the bartender last. Do you feel vibrant history? You see an impressive gathering of wild Orlands? What's on Orland? In cemetery dress, shaded by a corpse of ancient oaks. Underneath the largest oak stand two young Orlands, hands clasped, eyes clear, as they promise to care for and love one another in the joining of their clans. An older Orland steps towards them to speak, beards seeming to sprout from directly underneath his eyes, and declares their union complete. The jubilant Orlands, I guess it's a race in this game, Orlands clans carried a newly wedded couple away to their tent with snorts of laughter and crude jokes, leaving the older Orlands to sit alone beneath the age-old oak. He sighs, observing the scene in the distance. He whispers a quiet benediction, glad for their gladness, and melts into the trees without another word. He has seen enough happiness for one day. Interesting. Missionary. I think she's going to do something important. You hear this guy? Mad, I tell you. Nothing looses tongues like a good pint. Are you here for some words of wisdom? It is a good place to unwind between jobs, sometimes even find new ones. Because she's on her own, she's got a very good name, so I'll be surprised if she's not something important. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her hand and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin, and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with metallic crackle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with another. This is not a good time. What are you doing here? You look like you could use another drink. What's that thing you're spinning? You like another drink? I'll get there. She takes a long drink from her glass, just trying to calm down and trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you will leave. At last, Karina looks up at you, and lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbones. Oh, has her husband been beating her or something, and she wants to go and kill him? Is that what this is about? Something I need to give to my fiancé. Oh, okay. Fiancé. Pureness. Only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Tell me about these new friends. They come into our house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm not a fool, I know what it means. Persicus makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they come to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out, let them have their fun somewhere in their gift, but not under my roof. She scowls, and then winches, her fingertips gently probing her bruises. So if changes you. Oh, so they're doing drugs or something. I guess the Purzik I knew wouldn't have squished a spider. I never thought he would. She trails off, still feeling the swollen, discoloured flesh. Maybe I could talk to her. Survival. But sweat makes people calm and listless. It shouldn't make them violent. I thought Seven just made people lay around not doing much. Drugs. I don't really know. Seems better than believing he's always been this way. I could talk to him. Her hand rests on the table, and she clenches it into a white knuckle fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to give this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I go back there myself, I know what will happen. I'll lose my temper and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. She points to her bruises. But I've heard you're trustworthy. From who? We just came in here or whatever. If you give this back to him, he will know we're done. I'll take this ring. Pushes then. Yeah, I'll take it. She looks at you and nods. The house is just north of here. Just please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Okay. So we're just gonna go north. Okay. So we'll go north, deal with this, then we'll probably finish talking to her and then have a chat with you. Actually, how are we doing for rest? Thinking about it, I actually need to rest, don't I, just in case. Just get into a fight. The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an almond. A handle protrudes from his back and his face is set in a stomach frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink? There's a tiny printed cup in front of him. He turns it in one broad hand but doesn't drink from it. In order some refreshments. Tell me about yourself. This is a lively place. It was founded in the early days of Durham independence by a travelling scholar named Earl of whatever. He wanted a place where kin of all backgrounds could gather and hash out the issues facing their new country. He rests his elbow on his polished wood of the bar. It didn't take long for the place to fill up. Blackberry aristocrats argued with dock workers from the gift, while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Driftwooden has never been known to turn down an argument. He takes a sip from the tiny cup. What's next? Imagine things got interesting. Soon if we're coming from the farms and settlements too. He waves at the door as if expecting a crowd to bustle in. This place got even more popular with the Valen sailors than the salty mass, and that was the problem. He drains his cup. No matter what people say about fair, mindless and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. Owen found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong friend, and when he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of the friend. He shrugged, spreading his hands over the bar as he surveyed the room, but Owen knew which way the wind was blowing. If you ask me, he skipped town, hid out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. Cracks a whinkering. If only he could see it now. Tell me about yourself. Name Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Burren. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. He shifts and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? How'd you go from religion to taverns? Yeah. The journey isn't as long as you think. It started with Hollowball, and with this he takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the pouring cup. I was my sister's son. Oh, sorry, it was my sister's son. I was going to say, that makes sense. I was my sister's son. It was my sister's son. He takes a drink. At the beginning of Whirling Legacy, he was one of the first. I never expected there would be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but it followed by rebirth. Yet every year more parents were grieving for the hollow-born children, and the gods were silent. Shafave, that's a tough answer. Were you expecting? That's tough. He leans forward, crossing his arms on the bar. Promises rebirth cycles, but the only cycle I found was this one. He taps the bar. Have a drink, have another, and another until I couldn't remember how I got home. Wake up, come back. I finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they had left days before and I just hadn't noticed. But they were gone, so I came here. I've cleaned up since then. Not that I found my answers. He tosses the cup back. I've just stopped asking questions. For some refreshments. Ooh, yellow lab. I'll take him. Ankle. Don't know why I'm kind of rushing around, but whatever. With that, we're going to find a house for her. I really just a rest, but I think we should be fine. There's only one guy in it. Because the thing is, roleplay wise, yeah, we're going to sit out now and then we're going to sleep. You know, wake up next day, he's come with his buddies and beat the living hell out of her. Where have you been? So we're trustworthy, so we'll go now. Okay, so north. Lumber's house. That's the one, I think. I think that's where I'm going. His old self, time and time. Ring to poo stick. Give Karina's ring to poo stick. Oh, poo stick. There. And we're going to end the episode here, so last kind of good stuff. And tune in next week when we will have this little chat with Poo Stick and see how it goes. Hope you enjoyed. Of course, like, of course, subscribe, and hit the little bell. Bye, everyone. Have a great amazing day.